How's it going, my dudes? Welcome back to another video. So after I uploaded the preparing for Golem EX video yesterday, this video has been highly requested. So if you lack a certain unit, all hope is not lost. Here are some ways that you can replace certain units in my lineup, and I'm going to show you how I replace them one by one. If you're missing 2 or more of my units, you can always switch out multiple of them. Now, to give you more perspective on Golem EX, I'm going to be running solo on co-op mode. So that means I'm going to bring along a stamina meal to host for me and then let him die off eventually. So I'm going to start by showing off the team that I previously introduced to you guys to show you the runtime, and then following that, we will then do several different other runs with various different kinds of units. And if you're not sure why I bring this team in the first place, do take a look at the link at the top. It will explain to you exactly why this team works and why I like it very much. Now, as always, this team starts off a little bit wonky, right? Unit 1 always goes first, followed by Unit 2, which is not supposed to be the case. Suzu always has to go first. But because of the mechanics of the game, this doesn't happen yet. So it only happens after I've stacked up 40 fever, like you see over here. So the moment that is done, pretty much from here on, Suzu will go first, followed by Alice, and it will just keep rotating this way until eventually Suzu becomes a little bit too much above what Alice can do. So I think like maybe from the next skill onwards, you start to see that Suzu, like after Suzu uses her skill, there is a little bit of delay before Alice uses her skill. It's gonna be a little bit of an issue for like much longer run. So I assume that Golem EX is gonna be quite a long run, right? When he has 60 million HP, and I think this Ancient Golem on co-op only has something like 8 million HP or like 9 million at most, something like that. But as you can see, the run is going pretty smoothly. As you can see, Liesel is the only one who's taking damage. That's because Faf is the sub-unit for Liesel, and as such, we are actually tanking really well over here. So 2 minutes 24 seconds, that's not too shabby. I think we can do better than that, so let's find out. Now, the next team is for those who do not have Vyron. Okay, I'll try to explain this really quickly. Rams is very well known for having heavy skill damage. He has a lot of abilities that improve his skill damage dramatically. So as such, we're actually going to start off without the Whitetail Axe. Instead, we're going to work with the current Shadow Flash Sword, because the Shadow Flash Sword has a capability of giving your unit up to 120% attack. And I'll be a broken record at this point in time, but your damage is actually based on your attack multiplied by your skill damage. So it's always important to balance both of these stats. And furthermore, if you've noticed, I've replaced Liesel's weapon with the Okeanos Spear, which is from the Labyrinth. And the reason being, we're not going to be piercing anything right now. So a few things to note about this team over here. While Rams is going to do a lot of damage, we are not actually using her for damage itself. We're actually using her to boost the skill damage of Alice. Because the more skills used, the faster your Alice is going to bulk up like crazy on skill damage. And another thing, what I really like about the current Shadow Flash Sword is it grants you another 30% skill gauge. And with that, it's going to be a lot easier to attain the WOMBO combo effect with Suzu. Now, only after using your skill twice, Alice is actually in sync with Suzu right now. So from here on, what you're going to notice is that as soon as Suzu uses a skill, Alice is going to use a skill as well, and then we're just going to keep having this WOMBO combo, and it's going to be really tight on DPS. And anytime now, there you go, WOMBO combo. And but the thing is, when the first WOMBO combo is out, the Golem is really almost dead. So I think this team has a lot of potential for the Golem EX fight itself. I think we're going to see a lot of scaling happening. Rams is going to build up a lot of stat for Alice, and Alice is also going to gain a lot of attack power from her weapon itself. So there you go, this comp is actually really synergized. I like it a lot, and I think I've actually discovered something even more powerful than what I suggested before. Well, I guess no surprise, 2 minutes 2 seconds. We beat the original lineup by a total of 22 seconds. Now on to the next lineup. And now for the players who lack a Liesel. So no surprises here, you're going to exchange that extra HP buff and extra healing for 20% more attack and a little bit less survivability with a Caillou. Not much to discuss over here. Caillou is going to bring about a little bit faster of a timing, I would assume, because the extra attack always helps. Don't forget that we are running an aura attack comp, and I know I just made up that word entirely. It's probably called a direct attack or something like that, but Alice or Sonya is going to have that little aura around themselves that's going to do a lot of damage to the boss. Having more attack is actually going to be a little bit more helpful than having skill damage, because you're going to be clashing with the boss a lot. Also, do take note that this team is going to be slightly less sustainable, because Liesel has a really strong point, which is as your HP dips below a certain level, she actually pumps you up a little bit more. Kind of like what Furia can do. And for the team that I'm running, and especially like water teams in general, you want to have like high HP all the time, because having high HP actually gives you more attack stat. Usually, right? Depending on how you play, usually that's how water teams work. And especially if you're going to be running the hermit stuff, that's even more important that you top up your HP all the time. So that's about it for this run. I expect that we're gonna do a little bit faster than what we normally would have with the original lineup. But to be honest, I would push a little bit more survivability over that marginal amount of clearing speed. So that is the run. Let's take a look at the time. 2 minutes and 19 seconds. So it's barely beating the original clock. I would say 5 seconds is really up to RNG sometimes. So let's move on. And now is a big if you do not have Faf. Okay, no surprises here. Faf is obviously going to be one of the most important units in this comp. And in fact, in any fire type quest. Because now Faf is going to be the ultimate tank in the game itself, period. He's going to be able to soak up all the damage from all your allies. And that's what's going to be very important to keep your team alive. So how can we do without Faf? Well, lucky for you, if you do not have that net 3, here's how you can settle for a net 5 instead. So clearly, I have to showcase their abilities before I show you the run itself. We begin with Walter over here. Let's take a look at it real quick. He has extra HP. This is not max, by the way. His mana bar is not max. I just pushed him to level 40 along with Leon. This is what he has right now, 10.8% to HP, which is not bad. Really good for tanking. This unit gains immunity to fire resistance debuff, and he adds a little bit more HP, which is nice. So he has a lot of tank. And looking over here, he takes damage in place of the leader. Take note, it's going to be slot 1. Okay, you're going to be taking damage in place of slot 1. And you add 15% to your fire resistance for this HP, and you add another 9% HP. So all in all, if this is additive, I will assume this additive is going to be like 25, 26, probably 27%, but this is not max, like I said. And also, let's take a look at his skills. Reduces fire damage for all allies, reduces fire damage. Okay, so what this is it's basically like removing a fixed constant digit amount of fire damage. So for example, if the boss does like 200 damage, maybe this collectively would reduce a fixed 100 damage. So the boss will only do 100 damage to you, right? Of course, before elemental checks. Now let's move on to Leon. Okay, so for Leon, his skills are not really important except that maybe you grant like a little bit, I think 70% attack stat, which is kind of nice, especially since it affects all parties, so that at least there's a little bit of support over here. But most importantly, right, take damage in place of the unit in slot 3. So we have Walter who's taking damage in place of slot 1, and we have Leon who's taking damage in place of slot 3. Basically, perpetually, you will be taking damage for your entire team. So slot 1 and slot 3, what you'll notice is they don't take damage at all for the entire fight. But the problem with this is Walter doesn't actually get a break, so he's always being hurt a lot, and he may potentially die a lot as well. If that's the case, you have to keep breaking his coffin to get back that sustainability for your team. But the thing is, the moment you raise him from the dead, he's gonna be able to tank for your team instantly and immediately. So there is that little bit of usefulness that they have over Faf, I think. But the thing is, you know, they're not as tanky as Faf, to be honest. And the rest of his skills is not really that amazing. I mean, okay, power flip, okay, that's kind of cool. 42% power flip is quite nice. So let's take a look at the run. So let it be known till the end of time that free-to-play, by the way, has discovered a use for Leon right here. So just pay attention to their HP all the time. You see that only the unit in slot 2 is taking damage. Kind of cool actually. I actually quite like this. I think we can definitely play around with this and not just this team, right? Because the thing is, Walter, he has a lot of HP. He doesn't have a lot of fire resistance, which means that he can be used in various situations, not just over here, right? So I think there could be some external value. If, for example, maybe in some other bosses next time where the boss maybe nukes really hard, right? And you know, you can just use Walter to soak it all up. That's kind of interesting, I think. Actually, damn, now that I'm recording this, I feel like I might know exactly what team could use this duo. Damn, I'm actually really excited to create a video about it. But I'll put a pin on it and we will revisit this content again. So before I forget, we are actually running Caillou. We are not running Liesel here, simply because we are using Caillou on the second slot, right? Because Suzu is on the first slot. So basically Liesel's utility being like the backup heal, it's not there that much anymore. Of course, we could still do with Liesel's HP buff, but I think probably at this point in time, Caillou has a little bit more value than Liesel. So a big GG right here. Honestly, really impressed that Walter made it all the way to the end, and he's only level 40 with like 3000 plus HP. So that worked. 2 minutes 31 seconds, not too shabby as well. I thought that we would be doing a lot slower runs than this. But then again, our synergy was still there. Our WOMBO combo still worked. So I think that itself already gives us the damage that we need. So all that we can play around is with our supports like Walter and Leon. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this, then share the video and drop a like. It really helps the channel a lot. This has been free to play, by the way, and as always, I will see you in the next video.